All right, welcome to the fastest 15 minutes on the internet and on social media. My name is Judson Powell. I ask you to hit the like, the subscribe, the share buttons, and please like, subscribe, and share. Subscribe to my YouTube page. Anyway, fastest 15 minutes, and right now I want to talk about something, and it really is it's a theory of mine. And yesterday was the anniversary of the United States of America dropping the atomic bomb on Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And there was supposed to be actually a third bomb drop, but I guess that one didn't detonate. Anyway, so I want to talk to you about those things and how it relates to Africans and descendants of Africans and descendants of slaves here in the Americas. And the reason why I choose to bring that up is because it's been a thing that I've been thinking about for a while. But here's the thing. Now, you got to understand, when they dropped the atomic bomb on Japan, Japan was devastated and destroyed. I mean, basically, and in fact, there are still, from what I understand, there are still people to this day that suffer the effects of the radiation fallout from the atomic bomb. There are people who are still alive, who are still suffering, and whose children, etc., have suffered from the fallout from the atomic bomb. So now, why do I bring this up? It's because slavery and Jim Crow have been our atomic bomb that the white man basically has dropped on us. But what's the difference between what Japan went through and what we went through? Now, what Japan went through, it was a catastrophic event, basically, that happened in one day. Boom, it was done, and so of course the United States says it was justified, because of Pearl Harbor. But okay, that's a question to be decided later. But since they dropped the atomic bomb on Japan, Japan has become one of the greatest economic and social forces in the history of the world. And what do I mean by that? They have turned their entire economy around, and they have become an economic force in the world, and they are a force to be reckoned with. And I'm not talking about military might or anything like that. I'm talking about just plain straight up economics, products, services, all of that. And why is that? Okay, so let's analyze that and what it means to Africans and the descendants of Africans, descendants of slaves in this country. First of all, once the bomb was dropped, okay, all of their infrastructure was destroyed. Everything, their infrastructure was destroyed. Okay, so when you look and you say, wow, everything was destroyed. So black people here, and I'm going to just use that term loosely, black folks here, basically, we have no infrastructure. We don't own any buildings. We don't own, basically we don't have any corporations that are being traded on the major stock exchange. We might have a handful, and even those that are traded, a lot of them are influenced by the influx of white European dollars, and that's why they're there. Okay. But as far as being able to use the systems, the economic and financial systems that we have not used them. All right. So we need to look at that and say, well, why haven't we used those things? The other thing that the Japanese did, the Japanese figured out what Americans like. Okay. Think about what Japan actually produces. They produce, and they started producing, and they started making better what Americans liked. Okay. So they started making what Americans like. Electronics. Okay. Consumer electronics, radios, TVs, music players, all of those things. That's what Japan produces. All right. Then the next thing was what? Cars. So now they have like two of the major car brands in the world, and a lot of in fact, I'm sitting in a Toyota Prius. So I'm just letting you know that they have pretty much cornered the market and or have dominated the market, while in the meantime, American car companies have all been in the dumps. I mean, let's be real. President Obama, before he left office, he had to put a economic stimulus package together for the American car companies, basically, but caused by the recession, depression that President Bush before him caused. All right. But during all that time, the Japanese have had steady growth in the automotive industry. They have had no problems in the automotive industry. They have had steady growth. And the only thing that really caused them a problem was a self-inflicted wounds by them having defective product. All right. So some of their cars did have problems with the transmissions and things like that. And there were several recalls. But the bottom line is they repaired those problems and they came back even stronger. Okay. The other thing is they have been on the forefront. One of the things that they have been on the forefront of is the fact that they have come up with a lot of these hybrid cars. They were really the first to have the innovation of hybrid cars that were using battery power. I've even seen they have developed cars that use solar power. They use solar power. Okay, so let's look at that, and then we also, and I'm not discounting like Tesla or things like that, and the American companies have started to produce these cars. But what I'm trying to get at is that they have produced products that have put their people to work. Most of these high definition televisions, cell phones, all of the things that we use as consumers, Japan has their hand in it. They have some way, shape, form, fashion, and also and this is coming from what? Coming from a place where in the 1940s, we're talking about the 1940s till now, they become a economic superpower. Okay, so how come the same thing can't happen in Africa? Because we have the same in fact, a lot of the technology, the cell phone technology, internet technology, all of these technologies have been created. Even the automobile was first created by what? Invented by what? A black man, an African, a descendant of Africans invented the automobile. It's not who and what you think it is. It is what it is. So we invented all this stuff, but we are not taking the opportunity or taking advantage of the fact that we invented this stuff, and then we are the ultimate consumers of this stuff. German cars are overwhelmingly bought by African Americans and African descendants of slaves. Africans. Listen, Africans. And whether you're a descendant of an African, whether you're a descendant of African slaves, whether you're African from the motherland, whatever, you're the greatest consumers on the face of the earth. And every time there is an economic boycott, you see the result. Like when people said, we're not going to eat Papa John's pizza no more, Papa John's had to change their entire outlook. When people said, oh, we're not going to buy Gucci anymore, we're not going to wear your clothes, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, then they had to change. Why? Because the economic circumstances dictates that they have to change. So we need to do that. As Africans and descendants of Africans and descendants of African slaves, we need to develop, and there are already car companies in Africa. We need to buy those cars. We need to manufacture and engineer those cars. We have graduated literally thousands of engineers, lawyers, doctors, all of these people that have the ability to produce and make the goods and services that we need and that we want. And then the only other problem is that we have to buy the stuff ourselves, which is what the Japanese do. When you go to Japan, you see what? You see Japanese people using Japanese products. So all of these things that are over here, you know, that we're buying and we're making the Japanese rich, why can't you develop televisions and electronics? That's what we consume. Everybody, like right now, I am talking to you over a cell phone that is produced by the Japanese. This is so that's what, and why can't we do that? Why can't we? That's what I'm saying. There are opportunities that are out there, and just like they were able to come back from their atomic bomb, we need to financially, because half of the stuff that's going on, to be truthful, is financial. You can't eradicate racism from people. People that are racist or white supremacists, they gonna think that forever. There ain't nothing you can do about it. There really isn't. So it's an exercise in futility to try to think that you're going to change a racist or change a white supremacist. They're not going to change. But what you have to do is the same thing that the Japanese did. Because believe me, it was white supremacist philosophy that dropped those bombs on those people. Because anybody that had any sense of humanity about them would have never dropped an atomic bomb on a whole race of people. You know, no matter what the circumstance was. I mean, it's just, and nobody, and as usual, nobody who is the victim of any white supremacist or racist plan or plot has ever done anything to the white supremacists or the people that plotted against them. You know, it's always the threat. It's always the fear or the threat that makes everybody move. Oh my God, they're trying to take our jobs. Oh my God, they're trying to do this. They're trying to do that. And that's how come even when we look at things like Black Wall Street, you know, when it was attacked and all of those things, the reason why that stuff was done was because what? Because you hitting them in the pocketbook. And you got to continue to hit them in the pocketbook. If you don't hit them in the pocketbook, look, they don't care. White supremacists don't care until you affect their money. You know, the Montgomery bus boycott, what was that about? It was about, look, we not going to ride the bus. We not going to give you no money. And if you don't have any money, then you can't make any profit. And if you can't make any profit, then you can't survive and live and thrive. So we need to take that same attitude, in my opinion. You know, we need to take that same attitude and be like, look, we're going to produce and sell our own products, goods, and services. And especially when it comes to big ticket items, we got to get into the car business. We got to get into the electronics business. We got to get into the businesses, you know, the cellular businesses and things like that. Those are the businesses that we have to get into. You know, we're always about the entertainment business, and the entertainment business, we know that we're always being stolen from in that business. There are very few people that are, you know, who are of African descent that are in that business. Even though, you know, so Jay-Z's a billionaire, but guess what? Jay-Z got people that control him. You know, and I'm just telling you honestly, you know, he's a Pied Piper. He's a person that leads the rest of us to the slaughter. That's what he does. Okay, and he does that for people who control him. That's why they put it out there that he's a billionaire, because they want you to look up and to admire him. But the people that they should be, just like the Patterson Car Company who invented the automobile, they don't want you to look up to him. Right? They don't want you to look up to the Patterson Car Company or to the people that invented, you know, even the internet or cell phones or anything like that, because those products, goods, and services are the products, goods, and services that are making the world go round. So wake up and start to produce. And I tell my kids this all the time: be a producer, not a consumer. You have to be a producer. You have to learn how to be a producer. Anyway, fastest 15 minutes on the internet and on social media. My name is Judson Powell. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I love you all. I love you. I love you.